This comprehensive solution aims not only to bridge existing gaps, but also to create a thriving community conducive to financial success. And at the SME shop, guess what? They have affordable online classes in businesses, strategic brand marketing, private consultations, and live sessions that they've been offering for quite a while now. If you've been following, you would say to me that they have given and churned out the best masterclasses so far. Participants have the opportunity to learn from a well-seasoned guest speaker today who has also walked the same path and has practical strategies to elevate your business. Distinguished guests, I know you're ready because I am very ready, because at the SME shop, empowering women in businesses is not just a moral imperative, but also a strategic decision that drives diversity, innovation, and economic prosperity. By providing equal opportunities and support like this, the SME shop will contribute to creating an inclusive environment where every woman entrepreneur can thrive and succeed. Now, let us continue to inspire inclusion, empower women, and support the growth of small and medium enterprises, which is known as the SMEs, laying a foundation for a more prosperous and equitable future for all. Again, distinguished guests, we're here to discuss our topic, which is the Naija SME Survival Guide, strategies for thriving in today's economy. Now, this topic is dear to our hearts. Of course, we know that, especially in what is going on in our world today. As we are very passionate as women to win always, and I have the honor of having our special guest today, who has an overflow of wisdom and will be sharing insights with us for the next 40 minutes. All the participants here would definitely testify at the end of this webinar that they have improved and have received a wealth of knowledge that would assist them in forging ahead and winning. Would love to hear from you as well. And we've dedicated a special 20 minutes for you, the participants, where you would click on the question and answer box. You can put in your questions there, and we have the honor of our speaker helping out in answering these questions, giving you practical ways of winning and moving forward as well. Distinguished guests, I present to you our special speaker for today, our special guest, Miss Ronke Onadeko. I'll tell you a little bit more about her, so that way you would be having your notepad and pens or any material that you're going to use to jot down every knowledge that she's churning out as in the next 40 minutes. Miss Ronke Onadeko has a passion for networking and public engagement, as well as expertise in SME business visioning, navigating enterprise in a challenging environment. Entrepreneurship and business development are her driving force. Ms. Ronke ensures organizations have strong governance, attains profitable and stays profitable as well. She sees that each business is resilient, financially, operationally, and commercially robust, and that they are active with their stakeholders and in their communities as well. She is a Chevron scholar and a fellow at the WIMBI's former executive council member. Again, we cannot underestimate the fact that she's a successful multi-sectoral expert with over 30 years of professional experience across agriculture, agribusiness, energy, which means the oil and gas sector and the power sector as well, and human resource development. She is an international speaker and a multi-sectoral expert in business development and natural resource development. Again, she has a serial entrepreneur that she's already birthed many companies in many sectors, by the way. She has a practical and theoretical know-how on how to turn ideas into action and financial reward. We're just in the best place to listen to her in the next 40 minutes. and she has a fantastic educational background. Obtained her master's in entrepreneurship at the prestigious Durham University in the United Kingdom. She is a business coach and has contributed in different magazines for many years. She's a non-executive board of director in several sectors: the oil and gas sector, agricultural sector, agribusiness, and educational sector as well. Definitely. Would you be asking me that? Is she an author? Yes, she's an author, and she's written the book To My Younger Self book series. Make sure you go out for that one. She helps women executives through executive coaching, leadership development, navigating career transition, and by suggesting resources and making introductions. Distinguished guests, let us make welcome our guest for today, Miss Ronke Onadeko. You are welcome, Miss Ronke Onadeko.
Hello everybody, good afternoon, and I'm really excited to be here this afternoon. Thank you very much for all the dial-ins and all the messages from before the program started. I'm really excited, and we're going to have to speed through because there's just so much I want to say in the short amount of time that I have. But first and foremost, please wait till the very end. There is going to be a goodie package from the SME shop, so please wait and get your goodie bag before you dial off. And there are just two things that I would also advise that everybody does. Get a sheet of paper or your digital iPad or notebook and just jot down as many things. Some things will jump out at you and you will know that this is for me. It won't be everything, but just listen out for those ones that will really cause you to take a closer look at your business, understand what you need to tweak, what you need to change, what you need to add, and what you need to get rid of. And on that note, I would say let's roll. The very first thing I want to do is everybody should just put down the name of their business and just try and reconnect with the reason why you started that business in the first instance. Was there a problem you saw, that caused you to think I have a unique solution? It has to be something that drove you to this business, and we need to go back to that stage and have a look and figure out, okay, so if I'm doing some business, that has to do with hair, for example, either it's a good or service. So maybe you sell wigs, so that's goods, and on the other side, it's a service. Maybe you do certain things for women. You rebraid their wigs or whatever. If you looked at that, can you imagine if, for example, some new trend came into the market and all the women start going towards short hair, dyed hair, and whatnot? As a business owner, would you continue importing wigs and hoping that the weekdays stay forever? You know what the temperatures are out, are like right now. I mean, a lot of women are ditching their wigs for cooler hairstyles. So those are the kind of things that I want us to start thinking about. So when you started, there was a wave, everybody started wearing wigs. It was the long weave, the short weave, the bob, the one with the fringe in front. And now women start, what will happen to your business, or what would you need to do? That's a thought to put on the side. I'll tell you a quick story. I like to tell stories so that at the end of today, you will remember the stories, even if you don't remember all the things I'm going to talk about. There was a big company that used to produce a gel that people used when there was some hairdo called Jerry curls. A lot of you might not know what it is, so just put it and circle it, and then you can go back and go and check out. It was a messy hairstyle, but it really was the rave at that time. And everybody was doing Jerry curls, business was booming, and then the straight perm as we know it today came up. But the company that was doing Jerry curls didn't pay attention, didn't do some of the things that we're going to do this afternoon, and all of a sudden their business went bust. They didn't pick up the signals, they did not pivot, they were not agile, they had the wrong equipment, their market had migrated, and they were not aware of it. And by the time they were, it was all over. That's one company. Another company, I don't know if you've ever heard of a phone company called BlackBerry. Great big company. They sold phones like people are selling pure water in Lagos. Everybody was on a BlackBerry. It was the phone to have. And all of a sudden, Blackberries disappeared from the market. So the last example I want to share with you is Kodak. I'm sure most of you have heard of Kodak. Kodak was a company that made films that we put in cameras. So the kind of cameras that we grew up with had rolls of film, and you popped them into a case on your camera, and then you take pictures, and then you take that roll out, send it to a developer, and then they develop the film into negatives and the negatives into pictures. So for those of you who've seen your grandparents' photo albums, those things inside came from it. So, over the transition, once, we started having digital cameras. First of all, we started having the cameras where you could just take a picture and pull out the actual photograph. But soon it emerged to the point where everybody's phone has a camera, and cameras have practically become an iconic thing that children want to have because it looks like a nice toy, but it's not a necessity. And if you go out to Lagos now, you're seeing less and less of photographers who are standing outside the venue waiting to take your photographs. In those days, when you're going into a party or an event, there'll be photographers taking you as you approach the venue. And then when you come out of the event, there will be a lineup of photographs all over the floor. And then you pick your pictures and you pay for it. And I remember about 5 years ago, I told a photographer at an event that your business is over. And he looked at me very strangely that, what is she talking about? Because as far as he knew, people were still buying. Maybe he just wasn't hustling hard enough. That's why his business was not growing or it was diminishing. And before you knew it, everybody now has their photo, their camera, they take their selfies, they edit their videos, and that whole business is almost disappeared completely. So I want us to use this as a template to understand that markets change. The only constant in life is change. So open up your mind, go back to why you started the business, who your target market was, why you were servicing them, why they needed their services. And if any of those things have changed or are changing, that might be one of the reasons why you are struggling. So we're going to talk about a few aspects of our businesses, and we're going to go from things like knowing your numbers, to how do you cost your goods, to agility, to funding, to broadening your market size, to how you handle your processes and procedures in your business. And I would use some terms just to forewarn you. You will hear things like click or break. It's a terminology to separate the two types of businesses people do. If your business is in an office or in a building or in a location, then you are considered the brick kind of business because of the bricks to build the building. If you're clicks, that means you're online, you're electronic, and you could be anywhere doing business with anybody and nobody needs to know where your location is. So those are the two different types. So I'm going to try and give enough examples from both sides so that people who are selling goods don't feel left out, or people who are selling services don't feel left out. So I'm just going to run through a few things that we need to take cognizance of when we're running a business. First and foremost, know your customers. Who are your customers? Do you have a database of the people who buy from you regularly? Not regularly. Do you have people who keep coming back to you? Because those are the ones that are sticky customers. They like what you're doing, they need what you're selling, and they keep coming back. You need to have a tracking system to understand, are they buying every 2 weeks, every 4 weeks, every 6 months? So if you don't see them in 6 months, it would be a good idea to reach out to them. If you're not selling things like houses, whereby, when a person buys a house, they're probably in the house for 20 years. I can understand if you don't keep track like that. But the good thing is, if you did keep track of who your customers were, even if you sold houses, if they're happy with your service, they will recommend you to other people. So you still need to keep in touch with them after you've sold to them, because they are your best evangelists. They will share their experience with other people, and that would bring you more customers. People's emotional state and experiences are the best sellers. If you go somewhere and they treat you well and they made you feel good, you're likely to share the story with 1 or 2 people who would likely ask at a later date, oh, who was that person you said who sold your car to you? I'm looking to buy a car. I'd like to experience what you experienced. So that's one. Another thing I would suggest people did is to keep data so that you know where your money is coming from. How do you attend to your customers? Your customers are really the most important thing that you need to be involved with. So you need to know what kind of people, are there people who are salary earners who have to budget and buy from you? Because if they are and you're selling expensive things, is there a way where you can help them get what they want in a periodic fashion by having a retaining order from you, whereby every month you just automatically, a text message goes to them saying, we're waiting to receive your order. If you're ready to order, click XYZ. So they don't have to do much work. They don't have to remember to look for you. You are already programmed to look for your customers. Another thing I would want us to do is to remember that we have to focus on the priorities of our business. For example, you sell food. Prices of food have gone up. What are you going to do to encourage those same people who bought from you keep coming back? One of the things that people will say that when I sell my plate for 4,000 naira and prices have gone up now, so my price has to go to 6,000 so that I retain, the margin that I had before. There's something called degramming. I don't know if any of you have heard of it. Let's give an example of people who sell things like powdered milk. If they're selling powdered milk in 1 kilo bags, that company, and they sell it at, for example, 2,000 naira. They won't change their price from 2,000 naira. They will reduce the quantity of milk in the sachet from maybe 1,000 grams to 0.75 and still charge you 2,000 because they know you're a salary earner and your salary hasn't gone up. So you still want to continue spending 2,000 naira on powdered milk, but you can't afford to move it up to 2,200 or 2,003. So you can degram. So I'm just going to keep telling you that different. So that's why I said you'll find some things work for you, some things don't work for you. And then as a business owner, you have to narrow down your offerings. You can't be jack of all trades, master of none. Some people are in dry cleaning and they also sew, and so you are torn so wide apart that you cannot keep up with the indices that your market is involved with. You cannot know each market as deeply as you should, so that when things start to change in that particular market, you're responsive to it. So for example, if I did 4 things, and I do baby food, I do adult diapers, and then I do things for a normal household of young adults. I don't know, maybe energy drinks, for example. How am I going to keep in touch with the fact that energy drinks is something that is evolving, changing, the way it's packaged, the way it's sold, the new brands coming up, and also keep up with the different diapers? Is it the pull-up diapers for adults? Is it the ones that you do on the side? And then you're also doing baby food, and you're wondering, should we be doing sorghum-based food or rice-based food or maize-based food or millet-based food, or should we be going into local things like ogi for babies or custard? So if you're doing too many things, sometimes you might need to come inwards, shrink inwards, so that you can really focus and understand the specific business you're dealing with. Understand what you are offering, who you're offering to, and know the business like no other person. If they wake you up at night and tell you that, what is 1 gram of XYZ on this brand, on that brand, you should be able to reel it out. If you don't know your market that well, you need to do some more work. You also need to understand your costs.
That's very important, Mara, as you just mentioned. And I just think it's very important for us to have like a recap. You've spoken extensively on KYC, know your customer, know who they are. You've also been able to talk on data management, data keeping, data analysis as well. And just the very important point that you mentioned now is specifying and mastering in your sector. Streamlining, so that way you're not just a jack of all trades, but you're a master at the field that you're doing very well. Thank you so much.
Okay, so we're also going to look at the internal processes that we have. I'll just share a story with you of one of the service providers I have. I need something from them and I'm like, hi, are you guys open today? This might be a Saturday evening. and immediately I get a text message coming or WhatsApp message coming back to me saying, thank you for your message, somebody's going to get back to you immediately. All these things are automated. You don't need to have somebody who is replying every message. So dedicate a phone line to your business. Let it not be the one where, somebody calls and you're on a personal call and a business call is coming in and you're switching. Dedicate that one line to your business. Also understand that you can automate a lot of processes in your business. That way the person comes, the email says, do you want to make an order? Do you want to complain about something? Are you trying to track something that has been sent to you? And you can start to streamline the things that you personally attend to. The reason for this is the customer experience. The customer feels like they're being heard, they're being attended to, and they will stick. As opposed to, I'm waiting to call Miss Veronica, I've called her 4 or 5 times, she hasn't responded to me, I'm wondering what's going on, is she on vacation, is she at work, and things like that. Those are the things that drive your customers to other people. So we need to take cognizance of that to make sure that we automate a lot of processes, as many as we can. Also, we have to innovate. Do your customers come back and stay with you? As your customers begin to change and the environment around them begin to change, are you moving with them? We've talked a little bit about that with the kind of businesses you do and how trends sometimes move your business. And then you want to know if your customers are satisfied. How often have you run a survey asking your customers what they like, what they don't like? Are they okay with your response time? Have they had any problems with your goods? There was a very interesting thing that happened. I think this was just before Christmas. It happened in the US where a woman's car got burnt down. And she had this mug, a travel mug in her car with her coffee. The car burnt down completely. But the day after the vehicle burnt down, they still found her travel mug in the car, intact, and the ice in her drink was still there. I mean, it was phenomenal. And somebody had recorded this and just said, wow, that this is such a phenomenal thing to happen. The company that actually makes that mug had been in existence for so long. And they actually took it upon themselves to respond to the trending, I think it was a reel. And guess what they did? They bought this woman a new car. The reason why they bought her a new car was because their brand had been promoted in a way that they couldn't have imagined. All of a sudden, the whole of the US wanted to buy cups. They ran out of cups. Everybody wanted to make sure it was part of what they gave out to people for a gift. And then on hearing that they had gone out of their way and bought this woman a car, everybody's heart just went to this company like, wow, this is the kind of company we want to buy things from. And all of a sudden, their business for their mugs skyrocketed. I'm not asking you to buy a house or a car for your customer, but if a customer comes to you and says, hey, I bought this big pack, a 2.5 kg bag of, let's say, pancake mix from you, and I opened it and it's gone off. I can assure you that a lot of sellers would be like, that didn't happen in my store. Where did you buy it? Go and bring your receipt. Are you sure it didn't happen, with one of your staff? You know what? The giving back of one of those packs, even if it cost you 20,000 naira. Can you imagine if that person shares that story online and 20 people come and buy from you that didn't know about you, didn't know about your business, hadn't tried your pancake mix before, and become converts? The accumulative value you get from just that single gesture could turn around your business fortune. So let's open up our minds and open up our hearts to doing the right thing and finding out issues that might have occurred with our customers, what they're happy with, what they're not happy with, and roll with those kind of things and make sure we get maximum value out of it. I'm going to jump and talk about agility. It's something that's new. Everybody talks about agility, but not many people know what it's all about. So it's actually focusing on critical priorities and responsiveness, which is what I was just saying. How this reel came out, the company quickly caught on to it, they responded. they acknowledged it, they did something, and when they did it and people started buying from them, then they started to showcase how their business was growing rapidly. That is what you call agility. Their response time was quick. Not that something happens great in your business and you are not focused on your business as much as you should, and you don't catch on for 4, 5, 6 weeks. The tempo has died. The period where you could make a big deal and make news and fanfare out of it has passed. So we need to be agile, we need to be responsive, and we need to focus. Also, another way where you could be agile is when you've automated your processes. Your response time is quick. Immediately somebody is asking for something. Oh, I'll tell you a story. Today, by the way, is World Book Day. I'm a big person concerning books. I like to read to young children in school, to my children. I write books. I'm into books, big time. So I'll tell you something that happened.
You're awesome. We have the honor of you telling us about World Book Day.
And there's a lady I normally buy formerly loved books from. And formerly loved books are books that somebody has bought, their children have read, but their children have gone past it. So they put it back in the market so that other children can get the benefit of reading from it. And I usually buy books from her. I buy books from like 100 books, 1,000 books. And she just brings them, and it's quite a range of hard books, soft books, books for 2, 3-year-olds, a whole range, so that when I go to schools, I take them with it. And then about a month and a half ago, I wanted to visit a couple of schools in my community to go and read to them, because when I do that, I leave books, at least 20, 30 books in their library, to encourage children to start reading again and take some time away from devices. And she didn't respond. So I went online and looked for 2, 3, 4 companies, and I was getting, not so great experiences from them, only to find out that because of the exchange rate and all of that, she was struggling with her business and whatnot. I hope she's on here now because I sent her a message. And I wanted to just share with you how for like a week, while I was planning to do this book reading, I was stuck. I didn't know what to do. I didn't know where to go because I had used her for so long. So the point I'm trying to make from this is, had she been somebody who had responded very quickly all the time, I would have caught on that there must be something wrong. But because she responds quickly sometimes there's a lag, I kept hoping that, maybe this is one of those times when there's a lag, until it was really close to the day I was going to read. And I just had to go into my children's book, into the library in my house and pull down books to take, because I wasn't going to go to the school without books to give to them. So we have to automate our processes so that our customers understand our response time and all of the things that have to do with their experiences shopping with us. Also, we have to empower our teams. Don't be the only person. So when you go and deliver your baby, your business fails or collapses, or if there's a bereavement in the family and you're preoccupied with getting all of those things ready, then your customers are trying to reach you. Empower everybody in your team so that when you have a downtime, somebody can step in and continue to run the business without you thinking the business has gone down. And then plan for the unexpected. Anything can happen at any time. So pretend 2 or 3 bad things are going to happen and have a plan that should this happen, this is what we're going to do. So remain flexible, be creative, and continue to improve your processes. All right, let's jump to something else. In everybody's finance, which is really the crux of a lot of people's businesses, everybody always thinks money is their problem. One, we have to be careful where we get money from. Banks are expensive. If you have a group of friends who know you, it's better they pull money together for you and you pay them some dividends every quarter, every half year, whatever. Banks should be your last resort for seeking for funds. And any business you do, try and hold back some of it and put it in an account that you do not touch. So over a period of time, you begin to have your own buildup of cash so that you depend less and less on borrowings and more on your internally generated funding. So your money cycle, I don't know if anybody knows what money cycle is. Money cycle is the point where you pay out money either to a supplier to give you goods that you resell, and then you wait for somebody to pay you back. The wider your money cycle is, the less money you're making. So how do you manage money cycle? Try and get supplier credit. If I'm selling Coca-Cola, for example, I want Nigerian bottling company to give me the Coca-Cola and tell me to pay in 6 weeks. I know I'm going to finish selling in 4 weeks. So I collect their Coca-Cola, sell it in 4 weeks, have my cash because I'm selling cash, put the money in an account somewhere. It's generating interest for the next 2 weeks before I have to pay them. In fact, if I finish paying, I could quickly turn it over with something else. So the wider your money cycle is, the less money you're making. So think of ways in which you can shrink the time that money leaves your hand and when you get your money back. The best people are the ones who are selling goods that are in such high demand. People like that can take in your money and say, you know what, when these things comes, first come, first serve, but if you make a deposit, then you're going to be at the top of my list. So you get that person's money, you use it to buy whatever it is you want to sell. So you're actually trading with your customers' money. And if you're lucky and you're able to get supplier credit and get your customers to pay you, you're going to be awash with cash. And if you are awash with cash, then you can do promos, you can do bonuses, you can do bonanzas, you can do buy one, get one free, which will even bring in more customers to you. Another thing is about increasing pricing in this time where everybody has one thing or the other. Price of electricity has gone up, price of gas has gone up, price of everything has gone up. Even the woman that sells vegetable in the market now says her F4 prices have gone up. I don't know how her business has become a foreign exchange business. She'll tell you that the dollar price has gone up. So maybe it's the fertilizer that was used in the farm that she bought the F4 from, and then, maybe, I don't know. But anyway, everybody's prices are going up. So how do we reduce costs? We need to reduce leakages. We need to reduce wastage. We need to find where there are leaks in our businesses. Is it that, when I buy 100 grams of something, we lose 2 packs of the 100 grams every month? And, of course, when if you're selling something that is in packaging where there can be a puncture or a can is dented and nobody's going to want to buy a drink, how are we managing our inventory to ensure that we're not having losses and things like that? So we have to focus on things that are causing us to lose money. Make sure our staff are trained and retrained periodically to ensure that they understand that certain decisions they make or indecisions that are not made are costing the business money. Do you leave your lights on all the time in the office? There are some people who, whether they're in the office or not, all the air conditioners are on and whatnot. So we have to start looking in our businesses to find where there are leakages and where there are inefficiencies. We need to block all of those inefficiencies to make sure that we retain maximum quality and maximum revenue. So I'm just going to go through a few items that you need to look into. And this has to do with costing your goods or your services. You have to understand that the real cost of your goods includes your salary. If you are working from home, put a rent for your room in your house. If you are using your husband's car or your children's school car to do deliveries, cost it and add it to your business. It gives you a true representation of what your business costs. Because if you are thinking, but I use my husband's car, the day your husband's car is not available and you have to do an Uber to do that delivery, you're going to find out that you're losing money. Also, the average cost per sale. How much revenue do you get for each purchase? How much money comes into your purse for everything somebody buys from you? And then the number of old customers versus the number of new customers. You want to make sure that your old customers are staying and you're bringing in new. Not every month 2 of your customers have left, you bring in 2. That you're not really moving. So you need to retain customers and also bring more. And then you have to know your gross profit margin, the percentage of revenue that comes in and remains after you've paid your staff salary, internet costs, your staff salaries, advertising, all those costs. By the time that tells you how much is really your revenue. So your cost per goods, how effective is it? How effective have you captured all the line items in your business? You have to keep going back to these things, because if electricity price changes, you need to go back to that spreadsheet and make a change. If your internet cost changes, and those things are what will help you at the end of every month or every 3 months, make adjustments in price. And then you have to cross-sell your business. Everybody's telling that, the person who buys from me is only buying 1, maybe they were buying 2, now they're only buying 1. We need to enlarge our net. That's why the internet is available. Sell to people in Kaduna, sell to people in Kano, sell to people in Owerri. Don't stick to your neighborhood that everybody knows me in Lagos. I'm so big in Lagos. Don't be the shark in a pond. You might be the biggest fish in a pond. You need to get into the ocean. And who says that there isn't anybody in Dubai or in Canada or in Togo or in Cameroon that needs your products? So you have to move out of your physical space, your mind space, and launch out into other markets. Last week, there was a Francophone Nigeria business summit. People came from about 8 or 9 different Francophone countries to Nigeria to find out how Nigerians are doing things, and we're looking for partners. Open up your mind, find out what courses are going on, what summits are taking place, what webinars are happening, and continue to educate yourself in all of these areas. So just a few more things that I don't want to miss out. We need to stay informed about our market. If you're a soap seller, start to look at the different types of, put things, articles out on the internet, on your Instagram page, on TikTok, educating people about soap. Oil-based soap, soapless soap, liquid soap, solid soap, whatever. Become an expert in that area. It's more likely people would want to buy from somebody who is very knowledgeable about their market than somebody who is just selling for selling's sake. And when it comes time to cross-sell, you would know the other cosmetics, for example, that match the kind of clientele and the kind of product you're selling. So open up your mind to educating yourself, educating your staff about your market, about your business, and about finance. Also, share services. If your business needs a bookkeeper, somebody to come in and do your books, don't hire an accountant. Look for 3 or 4 people who do business, hire one accountant and share the cost of a very good accountant by 4, as opposed to getting a not so good accountant because you're worried about the cost. Same thing with a lawyer. If you have a product that is unique to you, brand it. Make sure you copyright it, because once it starts getting big, if you have a drink like I had called Cool, if anybody does anything like drinks that is cool, cooler, coolest, I'm going to take you to court, because I copyrighted the name that I use for my drink. So if you have something that's unique, please copyright it, because as you go bigger, people would want to write. Can you imagine somebody doing Coca-Colast right now? They want to confuse people in the market. So as Coca-Cola is advertising, they're also going to be advertising for that other person, and you want to avoid all your hard work going to waste. Do cheaper services if possible. Like if there's a slump in the market, do a buy one get one free to your customers that have been dedicated. Don't use that to bring in new customers, because new customers will come, enjoy your buy one get one free, and pot back. You know what pot means? People who move from MTN to Airtel, from Airtel to Glo, depending on who is doing promo. So don't open it up to people who are out there, who are just coming to do, let me just taste you just one more. Give it to your dedicated, so they know that you appreciate and you value their service. Also, be careful to have multiple vendors who supply you, so that if one person's business goes bust, that does not kill your business. Keep in touch. I'll tell one last story before we run, because we're actually running out of time. I've just gone a minute over the time I'm supposed to be on here. I used to manufacture a beverage called Cool Juice, and for many years I wanted to go out of the country. So I found a company called ASL, Airline Services Limited, and they normally give food packs to different airlines, international airlines, as you board. And I had talked to them for about 2-3 months, and nothing was coming forth. So every week I used to send a carton of my juice to the CEO's, the MD's house. He got so embarrassed for receiving and drinking my juice for free that he said, "Madam, don't worry, I'm going to try you." So they did. One day, one of their supplier was unable to supply, and I got this cold call saying, "Madam, can you get so many cartons to us in the next 2 hours?" You know what? It was a Sunday morning. I was dressed for church. I loaded my car with as much as I could. I rushed off to the airport to drop it before going to church. And that was my first exposure to the international market. More than that, because I had been persistent, I was their next port of call. So there are some customers that are like, "Oh no, we only use this." Tell them you understand, but you want them to know that the day that person does not perform, you are waiting. It's an opportunity. And because you are consistently engaging them and in their face, the day there is a mess up from that other customer, you've won them for life. So I'm going to end on this. There are some notes that I will be able to share that I will make available to the SME shop to touch on all the other areas. So I'm going to do a checklist. So you can either go on to Google and just Google the word or the sentence from the checklist and see what area you can improve yourself on or get more information on to do with. So it's a holistic checklist that would cover everything from finance to agility to managing your internet presence and all of that, knowing your financial numbers, cost of goods, you just name it. I'm going to do like a little bullet points of all of those things for you to go back to and go and see where you need to tweak your business. But don't give up. Nigeria is going to remain Nigeria. We've had times like this 2 years ago. Everybody thought during COVID that the world had come to an end, but see us today as Nigerians. We bounced back. Businesses are back thriving. Now the foreign exchange market is giving all of us the run for our money. Don't worry about it. Every good time that goes down comes back. There's a cycle. It's called business cycles. So we are just going to make sure that we build ourselves to be more robust than we were before, so that when the down times come, we do have those savings on the side that will tide us through till the upside comes back again. And we're going to be better prepared. We're going to be better educated about our business and ensure that we do not die out in the downtime. Thank you very much for listening.
Thank you so much, Miss Ronke Onadeko. You have just reeled out an abundance of expertise now. In 40 minutes, it seems like I've been on a 4-year course. You can see the people clapping, the emojis just clapping. I am clapping over here. All I hear is we have to take it a notch up by being intentional. So what I hear is that this is the intentional entrepreneur now. Esteemed participants, I hope you're smiling like I'm smiling, because I know you've been equipped. Like I mentioned, 40 minutes has been like a 4-month course. Thank you so much, Ma, for that fantastic 40 minutes that you've done. And you've reeled out too much. I don't even think we have enough time for that, but we have learned practical ways of surviving in this economy. So it means that every female entrepreneur is going to survive, is going to thrive, and is going to forge ahead. And you gave us some very practical ways of doing this. I have decided that as a female entrepreneur, I'm a master of ceremonies, by the way, I have to be intentional. And what you've just said to us is that by leveraging on knowing your customers, whether you're in a private sector or you're in the market sector, that will help you stay afloat. You also mentioned a lot about automation. You mentioned about the WhatsApp messages, how to easily automate. You mentioned about responsiveness. You also spoke on sustainability, which is quite key, staying afloat and not sinking. You spoke about innovation, and you said innovation is not just about going with the trend, it's about being proactive. And I think that is something that you said that it's very, very important, and you've also spoken about responsiveness, and that is what you mentioned about agility. And you spoke extensively on financial cycle of a business. How would you decide your revenue? How would you understand your cost per good? Making sure you put in all the nitty-gritty in there as well. Now, you mentioned about partnership, how that you can't do it all. So you start to open your mind to diversifying the opportunities of partnering to ensure that you stay afloat and make more money, especially in these economic times. Now, distinguished guests, I have a fantastic offer for you now. There's a code that's going to be showing up on the screen today. If you do go to the SME shop, which I advise you to go on to, because we cannot say we're moving forward without equipping ourselves. Our speaker did mention about the need to be intentional about staying afloat, being innovative, things about data, information about automation. She mentioned so much about automation and how that we wouldn't be like the Jerry coils of those days. We won't be like the Blackberries of 2024. We wouldn't be like Kodak of 2024, but we'll be staying afloat and sailing as entrepreneurs. And especially now that we are, we're celebrating women all around the world, International Women's Day. We have the code showing up there. Remember, you have your books, your pens, and all your devices that you're writing on. Take that code right now. Take a screenshot, take a picture. You can't miss out. Today, you need to go onto the SME shop and do the needful. She can't just have said so much in 40 minutes and then you just sleep over it. One thing again is repetition is an everlasting impression. If you do go there, you would find everything being repeated as well and much more. So again, participants, if you snooze, you don't need to lose in 2024. You don't need to lose. Don't lose. Don't lose. Like she mentioned, we've been there before. COVID was an era. Now we're in another era and it's happening globally. But what do we need to do? All of these things that she's put in place is a practical way to stay afloat.
Good afternoon, madam.
Good afternoon.
Thank you so much for the session. It was quite insightful. Okay, so my question very quickly. I wanted to find out what your take would be in terms of how one will deal with inflation. I'm into the products, I'm into products, and with the dollar up and down, it's difficult to be able to price and then reprice and keep repricing again when we have customers that are set on, I mean, they're just challenged in terms of pricing. So I don't know what your take would be on that.
Okay. A few things that I would advise. I don't know exactly what your product is, but for example, if you were selling something that was divisible, something that you could open up the packaging and repackage into smaller packs, maybe you'll be able to match the person's purse. Because when people are resistant to price increases, it's because they already have a budget. So if it was powdered soap, for example, that you were bringing into the country, and maybe it's an imported powdered soap that people really want to use, if it comes in a 1 kg bag, you could split it into 2 and repackage into 500 kg bags so that the person can still afford it. The person probably would use less of it than they would have, but it will still be available. The other thing is also that, is there any local substitute that you could put alongside? So if it's...
Sorry, ma'am, for clarification's sake, we're into flip-flops and everything is locally sourced.
They're locally made flip-flops.
Yes, ma'am. But the challenge now is that every time I go back to the market to restock on inventory, the prices increase.
Okay, so there are 2 things that you can do with that. If you pre-buy from your supplier, instead of buying 100 flip-flops and going back in another week's time, maybe you pay for much more, and if you've had a relationship with them, try and get a pipeline whereby by the time you come back, you're not dealing with the new price because you've paid a deposit ahead of time. So you're hedging, so to speak. It cannot go on forever, but you also now have to be able to look back that over the last 3 months, for example, has the price been going up by 10% or 15%, so that when you go to the market, you are selling at a replacement cost, not the cost of purchase. Let me explain what that is. If I buy at 10 naira and I usually add 5 naira to it and I'm selling at 15, this time around, because I know when I go back to the shop, it's going to be 15, I will not sell at 15 because it's 0. My net is 0. That means I will take all the revenue I had to go and restock. I will not stay at 15. I will try and get to 17. I would also do a survey of other people who are selling the same goods in the market or in the various markets that are similar to mine and see where their prices are. Are they selling all imported products? Are they selling some made in Nigeria? Because I, for example, now there's some things that I've downgraded on. I was using imported washing up soap in my kitchen. I've gone down to Morning Fresh. I've moved. You pot. So anybody who was selling only the imported Sunlight liquid soap for washing dishes now and doesn't start putting Morning Fresh beside it and all the other Nigerian brands, you find out that your customers go elsewhere. So maybe you need to increase the range and only sell 15% of the imported goods and 75% or 85% of the local ones, because people will downgrade. The flip-flops you wear are not going to let you enter the presidency or not. So people are going to be like, this is not a do or die issue. So maybe it's time to increase and change your offerings, reduce the imported ones and stay with the local ones where the prices are a bit more stable so that you don't lose out on both ends. I hope that helps.
Thank you very much for that. Yeah, that helps.
You said something about shrinking the money cycle. I want you to elaborate on that. And secondly, my company is an IT company. We render consultancy services, and like you already know, IT is dynamic. Things are constantly changing. Like, for instance, the advent and the of artificial intelligence, it has made a lot of things to start working differently. How can a business owner or founder like me keep up with such speed? Because Nigeria, as we know, is a bit backwards if it comes to technology. Like, for instance, when we have a satellite, I heard about Link, but I don't even know if it's rendering any service to Nigeria at the moment. We don't even have anything to show for being the giant of Africa if it comes to technology. So how will a business owner like me be able to keep up with the speed at which technology is growing? Because it's what my business is all about.
Okay, so thank you for that question. I'll just be very quick and brief about it. First and foremost, as a Nigerian, there's some tools and platforms that we need in Nigeria that nobody else needs anywhere in the world. And Nigerians, we're always waiting for the world to create products and then we buy, or we're waiting for people to create apps and we buy. We need to start looking inwards. There's certain things that Nigerians need. So, okay, so I think in the area where you're in a very specialized area, you're in a unique area. Start looking at problems that need solutions in Nigeria and create the Nigeria solutions. And then we would sell those. We have 200 million Nigerians. At least half of them are young people, or more than half are young people who are using technology. So instead of us waiting for Europe or the US or Asia or India to create apps and platforms and solutions to Nigeria problems, people are creating those problems for their own selves, for their country and for their own people. So we need to start looking at what do we need in Nigeria and having Nigerians create solutions to our problems. There are also people like us, the 40% of the aging population in Nigeria that are not IT savvy. How do you guys equip us to become those people who can use some of your things that you do? And you'll be surprised, the people who cannot use technology are the ones who have the buying power. We are the ones that have the cash to buy things or download apps. If I had to download an app now, I wouldn't really look at the price like a young person would. So it looks like you're missing out on an entire market because there's no bridge between what you can offer, what people need, and the people that can afford it. So you have to start thinking differently and not thinking, oh, I'm waiting for somebody to knock on my door and ask me for a service or something to, bring in business to me that, oh, I need you to do this. Start thinking of people who are not using your services. Why are we not using your services? Because we are not IT savvy. So what kind of products and apps can you do that people like us can use? And how can you charge? So even if you charged 2,000 naira for something and 1 million older people use it, and there is something they need every day, is it something that can store your passwords, for example? I hate this whole passwording thing. Every so often, I would want to go onto something and they would say, Madam, you don't remember your password, go and reset. I'm tired of it. If somebody could do or make a key or a chain that automatically stores my password every time I get onto a new system, it would be something that I would pay for. If I had to pay 15 or 20,000 naira a year for something like that, I would. So start thinking differently and stop waiting for business to come your way. Create your market, create your product, and go out and look for the people who are going to purchase it.
Amazingly said, Ma, because as you were speaking, it seemed like I had tapped in to your wealth of knowledge, and I was saying the same thing to our participants who asked that question. Again, this also speaks to one of the major points that she mentioned, agility. She mentioned that agility doesn't have to be what we think it is. It's just meeting a need. And again, she's just told you now, meet that need. There are many market women out there who don't even know how to use the automated WhatsApp. And I remember that, you can easily call a market woman on WhatsApp and tell her what to do. So again, you can go to the grassroots sensitization, and all of these nitty-gritty and step-by-step are on the SME shop. You need to go on there, visit, use the code for today, get your discount, a huge discount. Miss Onadeko came bearing gifts. And by honor of just listening to her for 40 minutes, you have yourself a package to go home with. Now, distinguished guests, we have spent a fantastic hour understanding how we are going to survive in this Naija economy. Every SME is going to sail. Every SME is going to go global, because she did mention about meeting other market needs. Every SME is going to smile. Thank you, Vera, for putting that heart there. It means that you have just connected, so you're not living here the same way. And of course, we can't wait to hear your testimonials. Go onto the web, the SME shop website, visit all the digital platforms, all of the social media platforms. Tell everyone over there how much this webinar has impacted you and has made you be a better person. We love to hear your stories. We love to hear what you've taken away from here. Now, I am going to put this to a close right now. Thank you very, very much. You have been an amazing speaker. I have learned. Now, my name is called the intentional foremost entrepreneur Tolu Talks, by virtue of Miss Ronke Onadeko. Please let us put the emoji of the clap over there. We need to be clapping for her right now, and the SME shop for putting this together. Thank you, everyone who's clapped. Thank you, everyone who's cheered. The SME shop, we definitely are looking forward to the next webinar. All right, everyone. Thank you, and bye-bye.